Yes, it is the Notorious Jawcast, and I'm Craig Hemingway, Communications Manager for the City of Moose Jaw, and some notoriously fun things to cover on this episode, including the return of public skating and your chance to tell us what the future of parks and recreation programming and facilities should look like in the future here in Moose Jaw. Also, we're on the lookout for notoriously good neighbors in Moose Jaw. How can you nominate somebody? We will tell you in moments. But to start, we are very pleased to share some news from the Waccamaw Aboriginal Community Association. You might recall at the regular meeting of City Council August 22nd, City Council voted unanimously to proclaim Friday, September 30th as the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation here in Moose Jaw to honor survivors of residential schools, their families, and communities. And the city encourages all of us to attend Truth and Reconciliation events, which includes the first annual powwow and gathering in Waccamaw Valley. It is presented and put on by Waccamaw Aboriginal Community Association. And Waka has put together an incredible lineup over the 2 days. And we encourage you to find out more information. Go to the Waka Facebook page. And then, of course, we encourage you to attend on September 30th and October 1st, as much as you can fit into that weekend to participate in Truth and Reconciliation here in the city of Moose Jaw. By all means, the city of Moose Jaw encourages you to do that. So thank you. Now, live on tape from Canada's most notorious city, here we go with the rest of the Notorious Jawcast. And we're talking today about the Notorious Nine. 9 ways to be a notoriously good neighbor in the city of Moose Jaw, which of course is Canada's most notorious city. And we just released the Notorious 9 earlier on this summer. And to tell us all about it are the people that we put in charge of monitoring those 9 things and more. Bylaw enforcement officers for the city of Moose Jaw, Brian Simmer and Kristen Korchinski. Brian and Kristen, thank you for taking some time.
Thanks, Craig. Thank you for having us.
Well, no, thank you two. It was a lot of fun putting this together. We worked really closely, and this was driven by the bylaw department to get this done. Brian, you're the one that first brought up this idea. Talk about where it came from.
Yeah, so part of our mandate for bylaw officers is public education, and really that's where this whole idea stems from, is really to start to educate the public, but in a fun, very light-mannered way. Hence the Notorious 9 guide and 9 ways to be a notoriously good neighbor.
Yeah, and many municipalities are doing similar things, and they're calling them, the Good Neighbor Guide. That's kind of what they're called. But we thought, well, yeah, we are Canada's most notorious city, so we need to put our own notorious spin on it. Hence the Notorious 9. And Kristen, really, alliteration always works, but really there were kind of those 9 big areas, right, that we felt we needed to address.
Yeah, absolutely. We have many calls on a daily basis of all varieties, but the 9 topics that we chose for the Notoriously Good Neighbor Guide were things that we deal with on a regular basis that perhaps people weren't either aware of, or they've just moved to Moose Jaw and didn't know that those bylaws existed. But just people call constantly about those 9 topics specifically. And those are the ones that we deal with most. So we thought those were the best ones to put in the guide and just get that information out there. Like Brian said, we're all about education and helping people understand why we do it and have fun with it. So that was kind of the driving force behind it.
Well, you're both very pleasant people. Like you a lot, and you're very positive people, and you need that attitude, certainly, I think, with what you folks do, because not every situation is pleasant, because sometimes there are enforcements. You guys have to enforce some of the bylaws, and as your job, you're a bylaw enforcement officer, right? Sometimes there are fines, and sometimes there are, starting with warnings and all those things. But really, Brian, if the Notorious 9 works well, that will mean fewer of those things for you folks to do, and it can be even more pleasant, right?
Yes, yeah, for that, absolutely, right. And again, public education, and that really helps. And of course, we live or we work in a regulatory environment, and with that, you can't always please everybody. Unfortunately, I wish we could. But with that, of course, this is where some of those things, the education, it's a fun way to look at, as Kristen said, some of the issues that we handle with the public. And really, if we can walk in there with a positive attitude and with the mindset of we're there to help somebody as well, right? Some people do come into the community that are new and they don't have any ideas really about certain things, the noise bylaw or the pet bylaw, property maintenance or standards. And that's where we don't bite. We're friendly. We're out here to help you, and we're helping you understand the bylaws and stuff like that. And again, this is where this initiative has come from, to be able to give the public a very thorough understanding.
Yeah. Now, Kristen, you came to the city after we'd already begun the early stages of this. And so what were your initial thoughts once you thought, what's this guide about? What are they doing? The Notorious Nine?
First of all, I thought it was what a fun idea to make something that can be a little bit on the drier side. The material's not always the most exciting and not always, what people want to be reading about, but with the fun take on the photos and the theme of it, and then the information, I think that it is fairly general information that a lot of people, like I said, just weren't aware of. And even some things, moving back to Moose Jaw after being away for 20 years, I wasn't even aware personally. So being involved with it, coming in halfway, I just thought it was such a great, fun idea. And what more do you want in something that can be a little bit on the less pleasing side than to have fun with it? So yeah.
Now, if you're watching this Jawcast and you've read the guide and now you're looking at Brian and Kristen going, okay, wait a minute, are these the same people that I've seen in the guide? Well, yes. That was also part of the fun, as Kristen alluded to, the photo shoots. And Brian, I guess let's talk about you. As we talked about what we wanted the photos to be, we really thought, well, if anybody's seen the vacation movies, Cousin Eddie really was an inspiration for you, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah. So he certainly was, right? I mean, he is that lovable guy, that lovable goof that does everything wrong and stuff, and that sort of exemplifies your neighbor. Your neighbor might not be a very bad neighbor. He might be a great guy, but he's just unfortunately clueless, and he causes issues with neighbors, and that's what we also wanted to present in a very respectful yet humorous way. This can be your neighbor, and this is what you don't do.
Yeah, exactly. And then we used Kristen for the winter photos. Of course, you didn't get to be here during the summer, but you came in during the winter with, as we showed what not to do in terms of Cousin Eddie blowing snow all over the place where he shouldn't be blowing snow, including right in your face. You really did. That's like the definition of taking one for the team, isn't it?
It was good. Yeah, it was it was fun to do, actually, and luckily we weren't in a complete blizzard that day, so it was fun to do. So.
Well, it's funny, as the schedule allowed, we really had to get things done that day, and we were worried about having to move snow from where the city deposits it because it was pretty dry. And then all of a sudden, Thursday, we get the big storm, and Friday was the photo day, so we got to work with some fresh powder. So things worked out in that regard. So we talk about the 9 different areas, and we run through everything from yard care to as you mentioned, pets, waste and recycling, of course, and fire pits, and of course things like lawn and yard care and fire pits would be 2 of the bigger ones as we're just coming out of summer, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, property maintenance obviously is our number one. It's something that we deal with on a regular basis. Everything from, long grass and weeds to, dilapidated fences or different things that maybe people aren't aware of that are the responsibility of the homeowner, as such, like boulevards and whatnot. So yeah, just a couple major things that, are quite the constant in our daily jobs.
Yeah, and we do talk about, again, we're coming out of summer here, and before you know it, there will be snow on the ground. So certainly
Yeah.
snow removal is included as well within the Notorious Nine, which you can find on the city's website. Real easy to find. Just go under the Moose Jaw Residents tab at moosejaw.ca, and you'll find the link to the Notorious Nine. Before we wrap up talking about just the guide itself, can you each pick one piece of advice that's contained in the Notorious Nine that maybe isn't as well known as some of the other stuff? I think, generally speaking, we all know, we keep our lawn cut and things like that. But can you each think of one thing? Brian, I'll start with you.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess it would just be mindful of your pets, right? So the dogs under noise, yes. right? Dogs bark, that happens, but just be respectful of the neighbors and just make sure that, when you do let your dogs out, don't let them sit there and bark in a consistent manner that may or may not disturb your neighbors, right? You might not be aware, but just, be friendly, be a good neighbor, and just be mindful that that noise from the dogs do travel, right? So could be 3 or 4 houses down from your street that the neighbor unfortunately has to listen to the dogs if it's continual.
For sure. Kristen, what about you?
I would say the building permits part. I find a lot of people aren't aware what they do and do not need a building permit for in the city of Moose Jaw. So you can take a look at the Notoriously Good Neighbor Guide, or you can give us a call here at Planning and Development at City Hall, and we'd be glad to help you through that process with what you may need one for or may not need one for. So yeah, that was one thing that I think is a surprise for people.
All right. Well, listen, we launched the guide. We encourage everybody to go online to find their copy. You can also access it through the free City of Moose Jaw app. And so on the heels of the Notorious 9 guide, we're taking this one step further with the Notoriously Good Neighbor Recognition Program. And we've got friends to help us out with that. Let's dial up those friends right now. Well, as we said, we had a special guest. They aren't much more special than this gentleman. He is the CEO of the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Rob Clark. Thanks for joining us, Rob.
Couldn't be happier to be here to see these smiling faces. Good neighbors of mine.
That's right. The notorious Rob Clark, as we talk about, we just got done talking about the Notorious 9, the 9 ways to be a notoriously good neighbor in the city of Moose Jaw. And I guess from your perspective, Rob, I mean, being the man about town you are with the chamber, you know everybody. What are your thoughts, I guess, in terms of, what does it mean to you to be a good neighbor within the city of Moose Jaw?
Well, I tell you what, there's lots of them in town, and I just think this is a great opportunity to bring more out of the, out on the street, out more noticeable. And I think it's a good opportunity. And this is only going to get bigger and grow.
Yeah, well, exactly right. We're recognizing people, and that's the whole idea of looping you in, the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce. We thank you so much for hopping on board with the city to start something brand new off the heels of the Notorious 9, which is the Notoriously Good Neighbor Recognition Program, where we want to identify or get identified to us, Moose Jaw's notoriously good neighbors. We know there are so many out there, as you alluded to. And Brian, maybe I'll throw it to you again. This really came from you. You're fired up about wanting to recognize people for the good things and not worry as much about having to do the other stuff with your job, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm super stoked about this. With a great team around us. Really, the city of Moose Jaw, I'm super excited that we're teaming up with the Chamber of Commerce, and it's what we're doing is giving away a Notoriously Good Neighbor Certificate of Achievement and a gift card to a local from a local business, recognizing community members who do good things around their neighborhood.
It's really that simple, isn't it, Kristen?
Absolutely. We just want to help recognize people that go out of their way on a daily basis in their neighborhood and show them that we appreciate them, we respect them, and we want them to keep being a notoriously good neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob, why was this important to the chamber to get involved?
Well, just for the community. You as a city is all about the community. We're here for the community too. If we can have a strong community, except it makes it that much better. And I like the idea there, because the more good neighbors that come out, you're just going to see that's just going to marshmallow into or mushroom into more and more of that. So you can see this project lasting for a long time, and we as a chamber couldn't be more delighted than to be helped support it.
Yeah. So all we're doing now is throwing it out to you, if you're watching this, is to tell us about the notoriously good neighbors in your neighborhood. You don't have to limit it to just one. Of course, you can. One's a great start, but that's all we want you to do is tell us about your notoriously good neighbor, why they are so notoriously good, and every single month we're going to recognize somebody different and put them in the spotlight and get their name out there and photos and all that fun stuff. And that's really the long and the short of it. Am I missing anything?
No, we encourage people to recognize those people in the neighborhood, and just as you said, Craig, it doesn't have to be one; it can be 5, it can be 10. Let's shine a light on those people that are contributing to build a strong, vibrant community. They can contribute in some of the following ways. Someone who has a positive community spirit through acts of kindness, neighbors that are contributing through there. Neighbors who have enhanced the quality of life in your neighborhood or the overall safety of the neighborhood. So really, there is no end. We want to recognize those neighbors that are making a positive contribution in your neighborhood.
And I think, Kristen, those are some of the things that, when people think, oh, I have to recognize they must have done something amazing. Well, I mean, it's the simple things that go a long way. So people shouldn't overthink this, should they?
No, it can literally be something simple as, oh, I noticed my neighbor's garage door was open. I better go close it. Just helping them walk up the stairs or picking up something that's on their sidewalk. Or it can be very little things, but that go a long way. And multiple little things equal big things, right? So it's those little things that make the difference. And so that's what we're just wanting to recognize. It doesn't have to be miracles. It doesn't have to be, anything where you're going and spending 8 hours a day volunteering. It's those little everyday acts of kindness that we're trying to bring out in the community.
Absolutely.
Although we'll take miracles. I mean, really, if people are spreading those out, right? I mean, like if somebody is able to help Rob shave a couple strokes off his golf game, I mean, that certainly would qualify, wouldn't it?
I would say half a dozen strokes. That couple's not enough.
Yeah, that's right.
But there's 15,000 mailboxes in Moose Jaw here, so there's a lot of good neighbors that are here in our community. So let's pull them out of the woodwork and.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's really easy to get those nominations in. You can use the report feature that's on the city's website, moosejaw.ca, or the button that's on the free City of Moose Jaw app, and you'll see that Good Neighbor has been added to your list of options. When you want to get a message to the city, you just click on that, fill out a couple lines about your neighbor and what they did, and who knows? We're starting by the end of September having our first winner, so we're going to do it every single month. So get them rolling in right now. It is the Notoriously Good Neighbor Recognition Program brought to you by the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce and the City of Moose Jaw. Anything we missed talking about?
I just want to say thanks to Rob Clark and the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce for jumping on board with this head over heels. Rob, we appreciate all your support and the business community in Moose Jaw, which we want to thrive and recognize them as well, as they're taking a big part and jumped in head first. And we're really grateful for everything that you've come on board with. So thanks, Rob.
Absolutely.
Thank you for allowing us. We wouldn't have had it any other way.
And once again, our thanks to City of Moose Jaw bylaw enforcement officers Brian Simmer and Kristen Korchinski and Rob Clark of the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce as we talk about the Notoriously Good Neighbor program. Get those nominations in. Now, let's take it to the Kinsman Sportsplex, where City of Moose Jaw Recreation Services Manager Scott Osmachenko is standing by, ready to talk about, well, I mean, summer's over, isn't it, Scott? It's time to talk about getting on the ice.
It is, yes. Last time we chatted, we were standing in front of the pickleball courts, which are just right beside me. And now, yes, the Kinsman Arena ice is installed, and the winter season, fall season is among us. Yeah,
I mean, I guess just before we get to the skating, though, you did bring up pickleball, and we should say that the pickleball courts remain open until the weather just won't allow them to be open, right?
That's right. Yeah, the pickleball, Moose Jaw Pickleball is still going to run their program, and then we have those free drop-in times that will stay open as long as the weather cooperates.
Yeah, fantastic. And check out Pickleball Moose Jaw on Facebook for all the details. And of course, we've got full details on moosejaw.ca as well. But yeah, let's talk about it. Public skating, when does it start?
Yeah, so the full public skating starts October 1st. So we'll basically have the Kinsman Arena opened, and then slowly the Claymore Palace will open up here on the 15th. But we do have kind of an exciting program again, a little bit different. We have our regular free programs, our regular public skating. But again, we're trying to introduce some daytime shinny. So for those seniors interested in daytime shinny, we have that program. And then the first Thursday of every month, we're going to introduce a special toddler skate time. So that's going to be new this year. So if you want to learn how to skate with your toddler, that's a great time on Thursday mornings, as well as all of the rest of our times, throughout the winter season.
That's exciting when we can add new programming like that. That's awesome. And of course, if you want to check out all those schedules, you can check out the online program registration link at moosejaw.ca, the free City of Moose Jaw app. And of course, for a few weeks now, we've had registration open for all the fall programs, and that's just ongoing, right?
Yeah, that is ongoing. Yeah, absolutely. So some of the programs started here on Monday. Some of them are ongoing, but there's never too late to join. We have all of our fitness classes that started, taekwondo, all the sports classes, so many things to get involved in on the community association programs at the R Center all throughout Moose Jaw. We have programs. So yeah, check out the website. You can look at the online schedule, or if you want to download the recreation guide, you can look at that as well.
I know often, we're always looking for instructors for different things, and maybe it's a good ongoing reminder that if somebody has an idea for a class, they're an expert in some area, and they'd like to host a community program at any time, they can reach out to us, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're always looking for instructors for any type of culture, recreation, sport program, and as well as fitness instructors. If you kind of want to be a fitness instructor, we'd be more than happy to help you with your journey to teach fitness classes either in the community or at the R Center. So yes, always looking for new people, new programs, or those just looking to share their skill.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. We mentioned the pickleball courts, which was a huge development, something brand new in the city of Moose Jaw in 2022. And of course, we had resurfaced the tennis courts. The Moose Jaw Tennis Club got brand new resurfaced courts this year as well. So a couple of big things adding to recreational opportunities in the city of Moose Jaw. And the city of Moose Jaw is planning for what the future of Parks and Rec looks like in our city, not just for facilities, but also for programming. What could or should we be implementing and looking at adding to our arsenal in the years ahead? And we've begun this year the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. It was approved by council in the budget for 2022 to launch the master plan. And so, Scott, can you catch us up on where we're at in that creation?
Yeah, we had some exciting news. So our group with EDS Consulting have actually been to Moose Jaw 2 times. We had our online survey. They came and visited a stakeholder meeting, and then they're at sidewalk days to get everyone's kind of thoughts. So they've created kind of a what we've heard document from all the feedback that we've given. So now actually they're coming to Moose Jaw on Tuesday to kind of present what they've heard, and they still want your feedback about what you heard. So we're really still in the engagement process, but it's really important that we need to hear your voice about what you think the next 10 years should be, and then try to put together that prioritized list, like you talked about those projects, those programs, all the things that we think Moose Jaw is important based on your feedback. So yeah, those programs or those open houses will happen Tuesday, September 20th, 2 o'clock at the Pavilion in Waccamaw. And then for those who are interested, we'll be here right at the Kinsman Sportsplex in the lobby meeting room Tuesday night from 7 until 9. So it's not a formal program. It's basically just come. The groups will tell you what they've heard and then kind of give your feedback if you agree or what you think of that information. So a great chance to still be involved in the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Yeah,
the more diverse voices we can hear from, the better our plan can be going forward, and a better chance to have a plan that really does represent the wants and needs of people in Moose Jaw right now. And it's very exciting to have a voice in that plan. So yeah, on Tuesday the 20th, 2 to 5 at the Waccamaw Valley Kiwanis Pavilion, and 7 till 9 at the Sportsplex meeting room and lobby on Tuesday night. And of course, you can find all that information out. Go to moosejaw.ca/notoriously engaged and find out information on the master plan here and other engagement opportunities, including the city's cultural action plan. That's another big plan we've got on the go here in the city of Moose Jaw, putting together a cultural plan for the city as well. So some exciting times as we plan for the future here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not going to take 2 hours. It's really just a quick snapshot. Give you your thought, give your feedback. For those who did it at sidewalk days, it's a really actually fun activity. You put some dots, you can give your opinion, and yeah, give your voice, and it's going to be heard.
Scott Osmanchenko, Recreation Services Manager for the City of Moose Jaw, live at the Kinsman Sportsplex with the ice behind him. Public skating starts October 1st. Anything else to add before we let you go?
You know what I want to just talk about is you talk about all those exciting projects, but if you haven't gone to Moose Square, please go to Moose Square because there is a brand new playground that's been installed on Moose Square. So for all those looking for another notoriously new activity, check that out, as well as public skating and all those great programs that we have with the community associations.
Yeah. So many great new things added here in 2022, and I think we'll be doing an official grand opening for that playground here in the coming weeks too. Scott, thanks for your time.
All right, thanks, Craig. See you on the ice.
Our thanks to Scott Osmachenko, and again, our thanks to Kristen Korchinski, Brian Simmer from the City of Moose Jaw, and Rob Clark of the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce, our guests on the Notorious Jawcast today. And we'll remind you of what we told you about at the very start, that on September 30th, October 1st, Waccamaw Aboriginal Community Association powwow and gathering in Waccamaw Valley. Check out Waka on their Facebook page. You can find all the details there. Thanks for joining us.